Hello, welcome to everyone. Please keep your mics and camera off during the session. If you have any question, we will have 10 minutes for question and answer in the end of the session. Today, Mrs. Amani Yaqub. Hello, Mrs. Amani. Education consultant and trainer, Cambridge Education. Lead trainer, school inspector and educational consultant for more than 13 years with MA in educational leadership from the University of Manchester. Amani believes in education distribution that promotes critical thinking and the advancement of leaders, teachers, and students. Hello, Mrs. Amani, how are you?
Hello, how are you doing?
Fine. اتفضلي.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone, and Ramadan Mubarak. Can you hear me? Okay, let me check. Okay, that's good. It's great to be with you during the final days of the Holy Ramadan. I wish you all a joyful and peaceful Eid with your families and friends. In our session today, inshallah, we're going to talk about accreditation in general. We're going to talk about international accreditation and national accreditation by ETIC, which is our trend now, which is something that we need to take it seriously and to consider it well when we're preparing for it or when we're doing the post accreditation from ETIC. By the end of the session, if you have any question, you can ask. You can prepare your questions, put them in the chat, and I will answer them by the end of the session. So what we're going to do today, we're going to look closely at the national accreditation process by ETIC, and we're going to reflect on how school leadership can turn accreditation into a meaningful journey of school improvement. This question, honestly, when I go to schools, they are asking me this question all the time. What is accreditation? And all the time we're talking about quality assurance, continuous improvement, accountability, and lots of terms that we're using. But I'd like to say today, accreditation means trust. And when we say that accreditation means trust, it means that we can trust the school or the institute or the university that is accredited. And we can trust that this school is providing quality education that meets the national or international standards. When we say accreditation is trust, it means that that this school that is accredited has established an internal system of self-evaluation. This school is committed to continuous improvement. It means that this school is doing what it says it's doing. So accreditation is not just a report that we get and that's it, or a mark that we get by the end of the process and that's it. It's a continuous improvement process. It's let's say it will label the school, and it will let all the stakeholders, if we're talking about teachers or parents, are happy with being in this or involved in this institute. When we're talking about international accreditation, we have many institutes for them. So I'm not sure if you heard about Cognia. We have, I'm not going to mention them, but we have many areas or let's say institutes that provide international accreditation. And as American Diploma or IB or British school, you need to get accreditation to be able to deliver the program that you have. Today, I'm going to be focusing on the ETIC accreditation. And to start, I want to emphasize that ETIC is a bit different than other kinds of accreditation. It's not totally different, but it has specific set of standards that we need to understand very well. We have three main things about ETIC, which is the accreditation through ETIC is about meeting the national standards to ensure excellence in teaching, learning, and leadership. Driving the, when we're talking about the institutional accountability, to make sure that there is a culture of self-evaluation, data-driven decision-making, and transparent reporting. The school knows what they have, what they need to improve. They know that their area of strength, and they are working on to keep this sustainable. and they know the areas of improvement that they are working toward them. And this is something very important. If the school knows what they are doing, it means that they are on the right track, even if they are not on an excellence level yet, but it means that they know what they are doing. One of the things about ETIC is that it's supporting the Vision 2030 by improving outcomes. That's why you will see part of the or area of ETIC standards is NAFIS or قدرات تحصيلي. So it's all about students' outcomes, which is something very important. And aligning the schools also with the national workforce and the society needs. When we're talking about ETIC accreditation, we have two main things to talk about. We have the self-evaluation process and we have the external evaluation. The self-evaluation process, it's the process that is happening within the school. So we have the team, consists of the principal, vice principals, and head of department and expert teacher. They work together to evaluate the school, and we will talk about it in details in a minute. And we have the external visit, which is the external evaluation that you will get the external evaluation report for it. Oh, and this will happen from a committee from ETEC. We have main elements for the accreditation. As we said, we have the self-evaluation and the external evaluation, but it's not only this. We have the data from the Educational Evaluation Commission. So the data is, as I told you, it's the قدرات تحصيلي, the results from the tests. That's why we need to reconsider the tests. We need to integrate the test standards within our curriculum to make sure that the students are attaining and the students are improving every year. Also, the professional license for teachers, and this is something very important. Every meeting, I'm telling the school leaders, every teacher in the school should have the professional license from ETIC, which is something very easy. They have two tests, they need to take them. And now, if you have Western teachers, ETIC provided us with specific license they need to get from their country. So it's easy now because we were struggling at the beginning because some of the teachers, Western teachers, they can't read Arabic and one of the exams in Arabic. So this problem has been solved now, and it's easy to tell if you have licensed teachers or not. So make sure even if you have Western teachers, they have the specific license from the ministry. And also the current accreditation is taken into consideration. If the school is accredited from different, let's say, different accreditation institutes, it means that the school has a quality education. So this will affect also the accreditation from ETIC. When we're talking about the accreditation from ETIC, we have four main domains: leadership, teaching and learning outcomes, and school environment. And if you're looking at international accreditation, you'll see some of them, but maybe with different titles. But these are essential in every accreditation. The way we collect the evidence might be different, the way we triangulate the evidence. However, it's still the same, let's say, the same main domain, but we have more specific indicators later in standards. So when we're talking about leadership, we have planning for leadership, leading the educational process, the school community, and the development of the school. So planning, which means how the leaders plan for the school, how they are leading the educational process, the engagement with the school community, and the professional development that is happening and led by the leaders. Another important part, which is the learning outcomes. We have the educational achievement, and here they are looking at NAFIS. That's why NAFIS is very important aspect of the accreditation, and the personal and social growth. Then we have teaching and learning. Usually teaching and learning is taken from the school visit or the lesson plans that we provide them in the evidence folder, even from the surveys. And it has four main standards: preparing learning environment, building learning experiences, evaluating learning, and teacher personal development. Then we have the school environment, the school building, and the safety and security. And we have many indicators under this one. I started and I said about the self-evaluation is very important matter because the schools are not taking it seriously. EDIC has a point from the school self-evaluation that the school can reflect on what they have, what they need to change. So they provided us with different tools to conduct the self-evaluation. So we need to conduct interviews with teachers, students, counselors, and the principal. And we need to observe classes, we need to observe the environment, we need to look at the data from MOE tests and the teacher's professional license. So with all the tools, we can then create the after uploading the evidence, we can create the report for the or the self-evaluation report. I like to emphasize that when we're talking about accreditation in general, and even old institutions for the accreditation, they used to say it's a process, or it's accreditation report, or it's accreditation. I don't know. But now you will see that most of them are calling it journey. So when we're talking about it, it's not only judgment. It's not they will not judge you and then move on. They will evaluate you, give you areas of concern or areas of improvement, and even the areas that you will get excellence in it. They will give you ways to improve it and make sure it's sustainable. That's why they are calling it journey now. So when we're talking about ethic in general, we finish the self-evaluation, then comes the external visit, which is happening by the committee from ETIC. So they discuss the visit with you, they meet the principal, and they decide on the time of the visit and everything. You have the schedule, even you have the schedule for the classroom observation. So you know who will they be observing. So you know that specific teachers will be observed. I mean, it's not guaranteed 100% that they will observe only these teachers, but usually they don't go to someone outside the schedule. When they come, they will meet the principal for the meeting and for, let's say, 10-15 minutes. And after that, they will go meet the school community, see everyone, the environment. Then they will go to the observation. They will observe the environment again. They will conduct interviews with the learners, interviews with teachers. They will also interview the students' counselor, which is a very important part in the process. And I would say 25% of the accreditation is based on the well-being. That's why the students' counselor is very important. Then they will analyze the documents, they will interview the principal again, and after that you will get the report, which is the external report from them. You know that we have 4 levels for the accreditation. We have distinguished, good, approaching, and weak. Inshallah, all the schools will get good and above. So we need to read them well to make sure that what we are looking at. And I want to emphasize something here, which is the practices are consistent and creative. So when we're talking about practices, it is consistent, which means that it's not something that happened only during the visit. And to be honest, as an inspector, it's obvious. Sometimes we visit schools and we see practices, good practice, but it's obvious it's not consistent, because you can see this from how students are behaving, or the teachers, or everyone in the school. Today I'm going to talk about something very important, which is the mistakes I saw when I visit schools. So I think most of the school has done the evaluation process, and they received the report, the external report. But I want to talk about things that they have done wrong, and I want everyone to avoid it later, even if you have the post accreditation visit. Some schools, and some good schools, they didn't take it seriously. So and some of the schools that I know, they didn't get excellence because they didn't take it seriously. ETIC accreditation is about fostering deep culture of quality, reflection, and continuous improvement. So we encourage schools all the time to view accreditation as a long-term investment in the school development. So they need to embed the standards into daily practice, not just into a report. So this is something they need to consider, take it seriously. It's something, it's a main milestone in the school's journey. So it's something very important. Another common issue, which is failing to involve all stakeholders. So what some schools did that they put someone to be responsible from each school about the accreditation, and they left the work for one or two people from the staff members, or they limited this to the leadership team. And honestly, this is a serious problem because ETIC expects whole school engagement. And when we're talking about whole school engagement, it means the teachers, the students, the parents, and the admin staff. So everyone should be involved. If we're talking about only few people are involved, the implementation will be shallow and unsustainable. And you will feel like not everyone are talking the same language. So it's obvious that not everyone is involved. And remember that we have surveys for parents. If you're not involving parents, the survey results will not be what is expected. So you need to be careful from this one. Another thing, as I said, we always encourage schools to make sure that they involve everyone from all the departments, from all the roles, and they have what do we call them? Awareness sessions and feedback sessions. We went to schools that only one or two people, any big schools, one or two people in the school, they know about the accreditation, they know about ETIC, and no one knows about it. And we went to some good schools, and even if you ask the security, they know about ETIC. They know that we have visit. They know that we're improving because of ETIC. We know that we have accreditation. So creating the awareness, spreading the awareness is very important among everyone. Another issue, which is not communicating the goals, the expectations, or the timeline clearly with everyone. So they don't know when is the visit. They don't know what we're doing. They don't know what is expected from them. We're talking about teachers or students or even parents. So everyone needs to know what are the goals for us as school, what is expected from us to do during the visit, and the timelines for everything. So we always encourage schools to have trackers, and they hold regular progress meetings and make sure everyone knows the roles and the deadlines. This is something very important. Another thing, which is understanding documentation requirements. Waiting until the last minute to gather the policies and data and lesson plans and surveys is not effective. And this will never lead to excellence. So it's a process that needs to be done from the beginning of the year until the accreditation committee comes to your school. You need to make sure that you have everything in place. You need to make sure that you started from the beginning. Everyone knows about it. We're talking about ETIC. When we're talking about ETIC, we're talking about that ETIC requires evidence-based evaluation. So you need to start early, you need to collect triangulated evidence and update the evidence regularly if you have anything that changed. And I'm telling the schools all the time, after you're doing whatever you're doing, you need to have to assign quality assurance committee, and this will help a lot. So they quality assure the documents and tell you if there is any problem. You can, for the girls' side, you can ask the boys' side to be the quality assurance and the opposite. So they see the practices and you have common understanding among everyone. Other things that one of the issues, it's not aligning with ETIC standards. And it's something very important because some of the schools that they have accreditation, international accreditation, they thought that if we have best practices, it means that everything from ETIC will be fine. No, if you're preparing for any accreditation, prepare for the accreditation itself. Even if you know that you have good practices, you need to study the standards very well, examine them, and then decide on what you need to do. Collect evidence and be honest, because honesty is the best thing when it comes to accreditation. Because when they compare the self-evaluation with the external report, it's going to be a big problem if you have a big gap. It means that the leaders do not understand the school. So this is something they need to consider. So the self-evaluation process should be accurate and based on evidence. So So let's say that you did the whole process and you got the external evaluation report. What are the next step? What you need to do? So you have submitted the accreditation request via the platform, review the request and verify the accreditation requirements. Then you will analyze the external evaluation report, and this is something very important. How we will analyze it, you can analyze it based on three perspectives. You need to analyze it based on domain, which is something very important, which means you'll analyze why you got this one or this result. So when we're talking about domain, it represents or it determines the decision on the school's accreditation status, and then based on standard, and then based on indicator. And when we're talking about indicator, it focuses on specific aspects. So why do we have this indicator low? Because of this and that. So I need to create a plan for it, and then do the improvement. Make sure that I'm tracking the plan, because one of the issues also that some of the schools, they have the plan in place, but they don't track the implementation. Also, one of the things that I want to mention, that even if you got excellence in some areas or in some aspects, you need to build sustainability plans. So the sustainability plans, it means that you will continue improvement and you will continue on the same direction. What I want to say before getting to your questions and answers, I want to emphasize that ETIC accreditation is very important. We need to take it seriously. We need to look at the school from evaluator perspective, look at the standards, read them carefully. You can talk to other companies or companies that will help you to get the accreditation well. Someone who will educate the leaders, the teachers, someone who will help you to spread awareness, to create the plans, to put everything in place. And this will make the process easier if you have a contact with an expert. This will, to be honest, it will make your life easy, especially if you're doing this for the first time. And that's it. Do you have any question? I'll be happy to answer your questions in the chat, or you can simply just turn your mic on and speak. Any question?
السلام عليكم.
Yeah, hello, alaikum
Samani.
salam.
Thank you for the very insightful and very useful session. I didn't expect it to be honest, I didn't even see what the topic was going to be, but I was really happy when I saw the topic, and it's very important, very moderate, very what do you call, very relevant to the time that we're
Yeah,
living,
that's true.
especially
That's
especially as a teacher, as an English teacher in one of the international schools here in Saudi Arabia. This is a
yeah,
very important topic that timely needed. So
that's
thank you
true.
again. It was very useful.
My
So
pleasure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I have a remark to make and a question to ask. Okay.
Oh, go ahead.
So I'll begin with my it's okay, and it's just a general question. I want to understand your mindset or what your take is regarding the question that I'm going to ask. It's not a very specific question, it's mainly general question. So I want to
Mm-hmm.
understand from an evaluator point of view what you think of
Uh-huh.
this question. Okay. So
Okay.
so I've been teaching for the last 4 years in an international schools here in different international schools here in Saudi Arabia. So I
Mm-hmm.
was a firsthand, I experienced it firsthand,
Uh-huh.
evaluations, external accreditation evaluations from institutions, from Cogni institution, and
Uh-huh.
recently from from the government, from the Minister of Education, basically.
Okay.
So I've had the chance to compare and, have my own, what do you call, analysis of both these big institutions and what kind of standards they uphold the schools
Oh, good. So
and
you compared Cognia with ETIC.
I mean, I didn't compare, but I had the chance to see them both and
Okay,
have my
that's good.
own,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So of course, like you said, there's some things, some lines that intersect. They basically, there are a lot of common grounds where both of
Yes.
institutions, excel, and there are some differences, obviously, because one
Yeah.
being international and one being national. And yeah, so my question is, okay, and I always ask this to my, admins, for any supervisor that, that's above me directly, and I don't find a very satisfactory answer to this. So what my
Okay.
question is, the standards that are, being used as a benchmark to do all this journey, like you said, they are, they've been provided, after conducting research, right?
Of
Especially
course.
regarding the demographics of the schools here in Saudi Arabia. People who
Yes.
don't, yeah, like, for example, international schools, we have students who are excellent in their understanding skills, and we have students who have no clue what they're doing, in the school, basically. So there's a
Yeah.
big, huge gap there to basically try to, close. But then
Mm-hmm.
these standardized evaluations come, and it's a wreck inside the school. So my question is, how realistic are these standards with regard to the demographics of the Saudi Arabian students?
Okay. So if we're talking
Yeah.
about Cognia, I would say
Mm.
that your question is more relevant if we're talking about Cognia. Because Cognia,
Yes, yeah,
yes, because Cognia
yes,
is international accreditation. However,
yes. Mm,
Cognia includes bilingual education that we're talking about. So you
mm,
have in the school bilingual learners, and we have specific. And I understand your point from
mm,
a teacher perspective. You're saying that
mm,
there is gap between what is required and what the students can achieve.
true.
So,
Y-
when we're talking about if we understand bilingual education, it's not only about what students can achieve, it's about the scaffolding that we can provide them. So, do not look always at the final point or the final
mm,
destination. Look at the journey. Now, when we're talking about the accreditation, I know that the standardized exams, a map for Cognia or NAFIS and قدرات تحصيلي for ETIC are very important, and they hold
mm,
a percentage. But this percentage is not the whole evaluation. So if we say that this percentage is, let's say, 10%, you still have 90%. It's about the way
mm,
we're doing it. It's not about the final outcome. So we went to
mm,
some of the schools, and the journey was amazing. However, when they accepted the students, some of them were very weak in English. That's why there
mm,
was gap between the students, between the internal and external exams. Um,
mm,
but the journey itself, when we go to classes, the scaffolding, the strategies, the consistency, is moving the students from their starting point
yeah.
to another level. So the key is about the starting point. If the starting point of all the students not the same. As a teacher in your
Mm,
class, you will see that some students are starting here, below. Some of them are approaching. Some of them are above. If you're doing something what we call inclusive education, if you're providing differentiation based on students' needs, it
mm,
means that you're moving the students from one level to another one. And this is what we are
mm,
looking about. And this is something we call progress. That's why
mm,
accreditation, when they are look at students' outcomes, they are look at two things: progress and attainment. Progress is
mm,
how students changed from their starting point, which is something very important. And the attainment, what did they achieve at the end? So, as a teacher, if you look at your students at the end of the journey or by the end of the year, and you see that the students are progressing, even if they are not still on level, it
mm,
means that you're on the right track. And this is
mm,
something the accreditation is still considering. That's why some of this, if we're talking about ethics, some schools, they have very bad results in NAFIS and they got excellence, which means it's valid. It's not only
mm.
about the outcomes.
I understand. I understand. Yes, I understand.
I
It
don't know if
makes
I gave
sense
you the
now.
right answer,
Yes,
but
yes, yes. I understand. No,
but
I
it's
understand you, but I think it has to do basically with before the academic year begins, you should have a very thorough planning, I believe. The school
Yes,
should
definitely.
prepare a very thorough planning, and then
And
this
involve
plan needs to be
everyone.
implemented. Aywa,
Yes.
exactly. So
And
it makes sense now.
I'm telling them all the time, involve the teachers, because the teachers are in the field. They know more than the leaders. The leaders,
True,
they are
true.
giving you things from leaders' perspective, but the teachers are telling you what is exactly happening in the classroom. So they know,
True.
and usually if you involve teachers, you will see realistic solutions because they know what is happening. They know the struggles more than leaders.
True,
So
true.
this is a very good question, and it's very valid, honestly. And they are asking me this all the time. But I'm telling you, if we're talking about 20 years ago, it was different. It was based
Exactly.
on the results and the marks and for the school. But now it's about the progress. It's about the journey. It's about the environment. It's about consistency. It's about the strategies that the teachers are using in the class. It's about inclusive education. It's about involving everyone,
Yes, exactly.
regardless of their starting point.
It makes
Yes,
sense. It makes sense. Now it makes sense, you know. There are
yeah,
like
yeah.
pieces and bits of things that you get as a
Yes,
teacher. You have
definitely,
to do this, you
definitely.
have to do this. But when you
Yes,
see it from an outsider perspective, it makes sense. And
yes.
also, I
Yeah,
will also, this is not a question. It's just, you know, an observation that I had. I just want to share it with you. And I'm sure you've seen this, you know, in your line of work. The thing
yeah,
is, like, when schools find themselves in a very narrow and very short, you know, time in order of providing pieces of evidence of their work, they find themselves, you know, leaning into fabricating pieces of evidences instead of, you understand what I'm saying? Like you lean into making something that does not really represent the ground in the school. Like, for example, you know, promoting students' grades. And in
yeah.
reality, the grades are not, you know, they don't represent the students'
Yeah,
actual
that's
level
that
of,
is
yeah.
happening. Honestly, this is a very good observation. And to be
I
honest with you,
mean,
evaluators are not stupid because when you go to the
yes.
classroom,
I need to code this to the teachers in school.
when you
No,
go to the
you're not
classroom,
fooling anyone. Exactly, exactly.
when you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
to the classroom, you will see if it's something is a routine in the class, if it's something sustainable, if it's something consistent. I mean, try it as a teacher. Try a strategy for the first time. Do you think it's going to be perfect with you? No. Because if you're
Exactly.
doing it for the first time, it means that you will see what happened wrong, what I need to change. This did not happen with them because it's not based on the student's interest. So you will see that there are gaps and you will start filling the gaps. But if you're doing something for the first time, and I will
What's
tell you something.
visible? Yes.
I will tell you another
Yes.
thing. When we
Mm,
collect evidence, we call it triangulated evidence. It means I'm not taking it from one source. It means
mm,
when I'm coming to your class, when I'm collecting data, I will come to your class and then I will collect evidence from students' work and then I will triangulate them to make sure that it's the right evidence. So it's not only about collecting it from one source. So even if they are faking the data, in the observation, it would
mm,
be obvious. So it means there is something wrong.
mm. True, true.
Yes.
Understand.
And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I like the way you're thinking. And I wish
Um,
you all the best, Sabrina.
it's very tiresome, but alhamdulillah, and trying to stay
Alhamdulillah,
in the
inshallah,
right
inshallah.
track as much as possible. Thank you, Samani. Thank you for your
Thank you
time.
so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone has another question? Anything before we end the session? Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for joining us and I wish you a happy and joyful Eid. Thank you. كل عام وانتم بألف خير.
Thank you,
السلام
Miss
عليكم.
Amini. كل سنة
Thank
حضرتك
you.
طيبة. Thank you for all.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye.